Hi everyone. Here we are at the Gateway API meeting for February 18th, 2025. I believe. Oh, hang on. Maybe it's February 17th for everyone else, but it's February 18th for me, so that's what I'm going to say. Um, so today we're having a meetingless, an agendaless meeting because all the US folks are on holiday. So we're just gonna go through some whatever questions everyone has, and then when we run out of stuff to talk about, we'll call it done. As always, this meeting is covered by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct, which can be boiled down to be nice to each other. So let's all do that. Shivam, you
Yeah,
had some questions.
so I'm basically a beginner with Kubernetes and all. So I have been playing around with the Gateway API, and I like
Hmm.
basically wanted to contribute to the API. So I don't know where to start, and I would like to ask you, like, where should I start from, and how to proceed about
Right.
that.
Okay, so the best way to get started with Gateway API is to install it and install the CIDs, then install our implementation and get started that way. We do have a getting started guide. Let me drop a link in the chat.
Uh, Actually, I talked to Flynn a couple weeks ago, and he pointed me to the installation guide and the documentations and all. So I am quite familiar with them, but
Yep.
I want to like contribute to the gateway API, not like
Oh,
get
okay.
familiar with the
Okay,
product.
sure. Right. Yeah, sorry. So that's a very fair question as well. Okay, so for contributing, the best thing to do is to look for sorry, I'm just pulling up the things myself. To look for good first issues in the repo. There's not a lot of them, I'll be honest, because a lot of the work that we're doing at the moment kind of requires a lot of context. Probably the best place to get started is actually with one of the sub projects, Gateway Kettle or Ingress to Gateway. Have you heard about those?
No, I'm not. Gateway
Okay,
kettle
let me.
is here.
Yeah, so Gateway Kettle is a command line tool that is intended to make using Gateway API a bit easier. Just drop that link in the chat. And then Ingress to Gateway is a conversion tool um, that is made to assist with getting config from other constructs into Gateway API. So it's not only Ingress, but also supports provider-specific resources and translates them to Gateway API resources. So there's a bunch of input providers, and you can take those input providers and turn them into Gateway API resources, assuming that the tool can understand them. So yeah, those are sort of the two slightly smaller projects that are a bit easier because they're more of a traditional software project. The hard part about Gateway API itself, contributing to Gateway API, is that because it's a specification, doing most like adding anything to the specification requires you to really, really understand the specification, unfortunately. I definitely would encourage anybody interested in getting more involved in actually working on upstream Gateway API itself to follow along and shadow with outstanding pull requests, especially GEP related pull requests, where we're reviewing GEPs and things like that. If you want to read the GEP documents or the changes that people are making and say like review them and say if anything is clear to you as a newer unclear to you as a newer user, then that's actually really useful feedback. Saying, hey, what do you mean by this? Or, I am familiar with technical stuff in general, but not familiar with this, and this doesn't make sense. That's really useful because, I mean, I've been working on this thing for 5 years now, and so it's hard to remember what it's like to be new. And so like that sort of feedback is also really useful. So those are sort of the things that I would recommend is look at the two sub projects and shadow reviews and just call out anything that you see is unclear or as someone who is sort of learning, read the documents. GEP documents should be pretty clear as long as you are reasonably familiar with Kubernetes and networking in general. The idea of a GEP document is to explain the problem that we're trying to solve to people, to that audience, and then to sort of lay out what we ended up choosing and why. So it should be relatively intelligible, even if you don't know a lot about the Gateway API.
Okay, okay, thanks. So I'll be looking into this gateway, kettle, and ingress maybe because uh, yeah. So can I DM you later when if I get stuck and all? So
I'm
because
sorry. Yeah, the
yeah, I
sound
was
quality
saying
is
that. Okay, sorry. So I was saying that I'll be looking into gateway, kettle, and ingress to gateway. So
Mhm.
if I get stuck, can I DM you in Slack or something?
So you can, but I won't be able to help much. I actually unfortunately don't have bandwidth to help much on either Gateway Kettle or Ingress to Gateway. The folk so Gaurav is the lead for Gateway Kettle, and Leo is a lead. Leo Lieberman is the lead for Ingress to Gateway. But I would just if you get stuck, the best place to ask is actually just in the SIG Network Gateway API channel, and then to ping those folks in there if you in the public channel if you need a hand, because that way there's almost as a new person there are almost certainly other people who have the same questions any questions that you come up with, and so asking those questions publicly means everyone gets to benefit from the answers rather than doing DMs. Is that okay? Do you
Yeah,
understand?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was all.
Yeah, no problems. Okay, cool. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to talk about?
I guess we
Yeah.
can call it a day then.
Yeah, I think so. Yep, let's call it early. Uh, thanks again, folks, for coming, even if it is a short one. I probably won't be able to see you next week because it's at like 3 o'clock in the morning for me. But the week after, we should be back and hopefully have some US folks. Of course, the meeting is on next week. I just won't be there. So I'll see everyone around and talk to you all online. Cheers. Bye.